So my topic for the day is don't follow your passion. That's correct, you heard that right. Now why would I say that? And I'd like to start my answer to that question with one small story. There was a man in the 1960s, let's call him Mr. John. Now Mr. John was a terrific writer. He wrote a novel and he submitted the manuscript of this novel to one of the finest publishers of that time. And when he did that, he thought that he had written the best novel of the century. But much to his disappointment, this publisher rejected his novel, and every other publisher he went to also ended up rejecting it. But now, Mr. John was not able to handle these rejections. He started heavy drinking, he was not able to live with himself, he slipped into depression, and 6 years later, sadly, he killed himself. But the story begins over here. Mr. John's mother had still not given up on him. She was still trying to find at least one publisher who can publish her late son's book, which she eventually did. And in the year 1980, this book was finally published. And it was regarded by all the critics as a masterpiece in literature in America. It won the Pulitzer Award for the best book of the year, and it sold over 1.5 million copies. The name of the book was A Confederacy of Dunces, and the writer who killed himself was Mr. John Kennedy Toole. His dream eventually came to life, but he himself was not alive to see it. Now, not just for Mr. John, but I believe most of us have had such nervous breakdowns in our lives, right? I have, to say the least. And the main reason behind such nervous breakdowns is the belief that our work is terribly important. And that is the danger behind following your passion blindly. To think that we and our work is terribly important and to take us, ourselves and our work way too seriously. Now the people who relentlessly follow their passions all the time and blindly may not really be that happy in life, mainly because such kinds of passion, they arise out of unrealistic expectations. For example, I have to write that novel of the year. I have to put an end to the poverty in the world. I have to break that world record. These have-tos are most of the time unrealistic expectations. But I don't want you people to take me in the wrong way. I'm not telling you to not follow your passions at all. And I'm not telling you to not set big goals. You obviously can set big goals. I am encouraging that. But on one condition, as long as you have a distanced and a calm relationship with your goals. The people who go blindly and relentlessly and tirelessly following their goals all the time, that's a short recipe of a miserable life. So now let's address the elephant in the room. Why exactly do people blindly follow their passions all the time? To answer this question, there is something known as the selection bias which comes into play. We only know and we only see the people who eventually became successful in life. Bill Gates with Microsoft, Shah Rukh Khan with acting, Sachin Tendulkar with cricket, Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook, and the list is endless. But let me tell you one thing, for every Shah Rukh Khan that became a successful actor, there are probably thousands or maybe even lakhs of people who are struggling very hard, who deserve to be good actors, but fail. For every Mark Zuckerberg with a successful Facebook, there are probably thousands or maybe even lakhs of other people who are struggling with their own unique applications, which are good, but are failing. And here is the irony. The people who fail are a lot more than the people who succeed. But here is another bigger irony. We only see the people who succeed. And this is the selection bias. Nobody remembers the ones who fail and nobody cares about the failures. So is it possible for us to follow our passions with maximum possible commitment and minimum possible obsession? Yes, there is. It is wisely provided by Mr. Jay Shetty, the famous social media influencer, in one of his videos. He said, and I quote, that instead of making the big jump and following your passion, just create a mini version of your passion first and see how the process feels. For example, if you want to become a successful writer, then instead of writing a big 500-page novel, start small, write 5 pages in a day and see how the process feels. If you want to become a successful filmmaker, then instead of making a big Oscar-worthy film of 3 hours, just start small. Make a short film of around 30 minutes and see how the process feels. The idea is to focus on the process, the inputs, and the activities of your passion, and not on the results and not on the outputs. And if the mini version of your passion is not making you happy after all, then there is a chance that it is not your passion at the end. But in either way, may God be with you. Thank you so much. Oh, and just by the way, a very happy Women's Day to all the women present here. Thank you.